The reality is, in today's world and inside of this country, a majority of farmers and ranchers are just surviving year after year, hoping and praying that they're able to continue doing what they love doing the coming year. Now imagine what could be possible for you, your family, your operation if you could break out of that year-to-year cycle, because the reality is most farmers that are stuck in that cycle, they're living paycheck to paycheck. And inside of today's video, we're going to introduce you to Scott Saucer. He's one of our members. He's been farming down in Alabama. His family's been running their operation for multiple generations, and we're going to show you what happened for him when he broke out of the common year-to-year farming cycle and got away from just surviving. So let's check out his story right now. All right, so before we break into Scott's story, I want to make sure and remind you, my friend, to make sure that you stay here with me through this entire video, because through this, you're going to learn so many things about what Scott did to break out of that common year-to-year survival farming mode that majority of farmers and ranchers are stuck in today. So make sure you stick around till the very end.
Yeah, my name's Scott Saucer. I live down here in Southwest Alabama. We're a row crop operation of corn, cotton, and peanuts. We've been a fourth generation farm. I bought my father out, bought my grandfather out, and just passed it along down. So we just treading water and just keeping our head up and pushing. I have a beautiful little 6-year-old girl that keeps me on my toe. Every year was just a struggle as far as the book work and getting operating loans and just dealing with the bank and just not knowing exactly what they needed, how they wanted it. It was always so confusing and so frustrating to the point that I just dreaded dealing with the bank.
So you heard Scott there talk about just the struggle he had with the bank and the stress and anxiety he felt around dealing with the bank year after year. Now, Scott is no different than a majority of farmers and ranchers inside this country. The reason we know that is because we brought in more than 300 of them. Not one of them has been in that place where they're completely confident walking into the bank and know exactly what the bank wants, what they're looking at, and how to negotiate terms and interest rates or things like that. Now, as Scott described there, it becomes just a massive energy leak for you. Right? You just stress and you have nothing but anxiety about it. And every time your banker calls, it's like you get heart palpitations a little bit because you're just so worried about that conversation, because this is a massive energy leak for you. It's a hole inside of your operation that you do not have filled. Right now, like I said, Scott's no different than a lot of farmers and ranchers, but a lot of farmers and ranchers operate with that stress and anxiety for decades, right? For decades. So we want to hear from you too. If you're watching this video and you resonate with what Scott just said there dealing with the bank, make sure you drop your comments in the comment section below, because we read all of those. We respond to all of those, but we want to hear from some other people across this country that are dealing with those similar issues and how it's impacting your life, and not just your business, but literally every area of your life. All right, so we're going to go back and hear more from Scott right now.
To the point that I waited to the last minutes to where it was almost too late and I was about out of money, and I was struggling trying to find monthly bills because I just didn't want to go and deal with it.
Now, just like Scott mentioned there, my friend, a lot of farmers and ranchers inside of this country are no different than him, whereas they want to avoid having those conversations with the bank until the very last day, like the day until their renewal or the day until they know they're going to run out of money, and then they have to confront and finally face that phone call. And a lot of them, like, I want you to imagine the struggle that they go through, right? A majority of farmers and ranchers, you guys are sitting by yourselves a majority of the day, right? You have nothing but your thoughts. The one person you're conversing with the most is you and what's going on up here. And I don't have to hide it. There's a lot of stress and anxiety that gets built up in a man after all you do is sit there on the tractor for 12, 14 hours a day, or combine, or whatever you're doing, or in your pickup. It does not matter. But as you just sit there and stew on these thoughts and you stress about this and you worry about this, because again, you know there's this massive hole in your operation, right? And it's literally eating away at you, and it keeps guys like Scott up at 3 a.m. just staring at the ceiling in the middle of the night because they don't know what to do. All right, so now we're going to cut back to Scott, and he's going to share with you one of the first things that he did to break out of that farming year-to-year cycle and get out of survival mode. So let's check that out right now.
Just dealing with the farmer metric side of it, just knowing where my numbers are, knowing what's going where, having a cash flow set up, having a budget, everything. It's just so much simpler that I'm okay going to the bank now. I'm not worried about it. There's a lot of lingo that goes along with the banks and the bankers that they'll tell you that I didn't understand, but now I've got a grasp on, and I'm like, okay, I get this. Let's move forward. Let's go. Having my numbers right there in front of me where I print them out or export them, and it's just amazing at having where I can look at it. Where I used to not look at my numbers every once in a blue moon. Now I'm looking at them every day. And I'm okay looking at my numbers. Yeah, they may be tight, may not be tight, but I'm looking at my numbers every day. It's amazing.
So one of the biggest problems that a lot of farmers and ranchers have, including Scott here, is they have this, it's like a disease, right? And this disease is they think they don't have enough time, right? And I'm going to tell you the number one reason why this exists for a lot of farmers, because they're super impatient. They think they're running out of money. They think they don't have time. They think they got to go 24/7. Now, the first thing that Scott did there is he got his numbers organized, right? He finally, for the first time in his life, like truly learned what his position was with the bank. Okay, he actually got his cash flow projections and everything put together for the entire year into the future. And what happens when you do that, my friend, and you actually know where you're at financially, is there is this patience that enters your life. You're no longer making fast decisions. You're no longer shooting from the hip with every financial decision that you're making. And you feel this massive release of this stress and this anxiety that's been eating you up for decades. So on Scott's journey of breaking out of that year-to-year survival cycle in farming, he's going to share with you something else that opened up for him with his numbers and his finances, and how just it made a major impact and shift in his life and how he operated his business. So let's hear that right now.
That was kind of the mindset I had, was let me get my loan, let me operate, let me just tread water until I get back. Now I don't feel like I'm treading water. I feel like I'm making headway. And I feel like my banker will be a little more confident in my numbers also once I handle it. And it's real eye-opening, especially when you get down to the truth of it and you see like, oh, I shouldn't be buying that. I shouldn't be spending this. I shouldn't be doing this. I need to be working on this particular area versus this particular area, or this crop made more money, or that crop made more money, or this field's more profitable than that field. You know, it's just, the tools are unlimited at what Farmer Legacy can offer. And I don't see ever going back without it.
So you can already tell, my friend, how much Scott's mindset around his business and how he's running his business as the owner is shifting. Once he discovered the truth of his numbers, once he got everything detailed and organized and was looking at his numbers on a day-to-day basis, if he wanted to, you can just see the massive transformations that is happening in this person. Now, so inside of this next segment here, he's going to talk about what he did next to continue shifting his mindset and growing as a business owner.
It's not going to work out. And that's one thing I've learned over the last couple of years, especially since I've joined Farmer Metric. When you make your financial decisions, you can't make them with emotions. You have to leave emotions at home. You have to make straight, good business decisions. And the only way to make straight, good business decisions is to know your business, have it set up correctly, and know the numbers. So we can't just make a short-term decision. It's got to be long-term decisions in this game. And so we've got to prepare for long-term.
So Scott said something really powerful inside of that segment there when he was talking about emotional short-term decisions versus long-term decisions. Now, he said that we have to be making long-term decisions. I couldn't agree more, right? But the reality is, when you're stuck in the year-to-year survival cycle of farming, you're constantly making emotional shoot from the hip type short-term decisions just because you're only thinking about next year. Okay, and this is what I was talking about earlier. When you actually get your numbers organized and things are out in front of you and you can visually see what your position is with the bank, what your cash flow projections look like and things like that, that urgency is taken away. We can be a lot more strategic with our decisions and everything. And here's the other problem with the industry today as well. Most of the loans that farmers and ranchers are getting from the banks these days are 20-year loans. How fast are they making those decisions on that though? How fast are they quickly buying real estate or buying equipment and signing a 10-year loan or a 20-year loan or a 30-year loan? They're doing it like that. Right? There's no thought about it. There's no strategy around it. Now, when you're in a place where you know your numbers and you're detailed at the level that Scott is, when he has that type of opportunity come up to buy a quarter of ground or whatever it may be, he goes and he plugs his numbers into Farmer Metrics. You've heard him talk about that multiple times, but what we're doing there is removing all the emotion out of that decision. And he knows for a fact this is a good decision, yes or no, right? And how's it going to play out over the long term? Because when you signed a 20-year note, a lot of farmers and ranchers, they're making that decision today, not realizing that they're making a 20-year decision. And that was the key distinction there that Scott really pointed out. And that is one of the things that I'm most proud of this man for in his transformation from going from emotional, short-term, shoot from the hip financial decisions to, hey, I got to take a long-term outlook in this decision, make sure the numbers line up, make sure my family's protected, make sure that I'm running this business the responsible and correct way. So if you're a farmer or rancher right now and you are stuck in the same cycle that Scott was stuck in before he came into the legacy farmer, remember he was all short-term thinking, just surviving year to year. He literally, like in his mind, he could not see past operating year to year. Now, inside of this next segment, I'm going to show you arguably the most important shift that you are going to notice in Scott's mindset and what he sees as being possible for his operation and his legacy. So let's cut to that right now.
Yeah, I mean, and you want your legacy to live on. You want your legacy, you want the benefits of the hard work to last long after you're gone, so your wife, your child, your grandchildren can benefit from it. I mean, what's the point in doing all this hard work and struggling if you're going to leave the future generations struggling too? So you have to train them and teach them and set them up for prosperity, not failure. I've said it multiple times that I used to just farm from year to year because I didn't know the numbers well enough to think that I could farm more than 1 year. And now I'm sitting here planning out 2023, 2024, you know, where I'm going to plant what I'm going to marketing, you know, trying to look at expenses for the next year and all. I mean, it's amazing at what you can do with the future if you're prepared for it. I didn't even have no thought of the, you know, the estate planning, the legacy, the leaving a legacy and all that. But now, after I've done all my book work and done everything, got all my, and now I'm sitting there looking, I am trying my best to set up a legacy. And I've only been at this, 3 months? And now I'm already planning for my child's legacy, my daughter's legacy, my grandchild's legacy. I want to sustain a future for my daughter, whether she wants to come back and farm or whether I want to have something where she's taken care of in the future. And with this, the entities and the trust and, you know, having estate planning and all that, I'm going to have it set up where it takes care of my daughter. And if something happens to me, it'll take care of my wife and my daughter. You know, most people think it's out of reality, but it's within reach.
All right, my friends, so if you're still with me right now and you've stayed with me through this entire video, what you just witnessed with Scott was the true transformation of a man. Right now, if you remember back in the beginning of the video, he was stuck in that survival and year-to-year cycle of farming like so many farmers and ranchers are. He didn't know what to do next, didn't know how to organize his numbers, didn't know how to make decisions, was just shooting from the hip with every emotional decision and he couldn't see past next year, right? Now, through his process and through those videos and everything that you witnessed, Scott, you witnessed a man transform from somebody who couldn't see past next year to somebody who's seeing multiple generations into the future. So if you're watching this video right now and you are in a position that Scott was in prior to coming into Legacy Farmer, my friend, I'm going to tell you that everything you need to do is available to you. Right? You can go out and you can start figuring these things out. You can start learning about entity structure and design and tax planning and getting your numbers detailed and organized and learning how the bank operates. That information is out there. Now, you're going to have to put in the work to find it. Now, if Legacy Farmer is the right fit for you and everything that we're doing, since we already have the system and the process laid out and it's the right fit for you and the right decision for both of us, great. Yeah, it'd be awesome to have you join Legacy Farmer. But aside from all that, I don't care what you do, just do something. Just do something, because we already know the cycle that you're stuck in. You were stuck in it last year, the year before that. You may have been stuck in it for multiple decades. And if you take zero action today, you're going to be stuck in the same cycle next year. And I'm tired of farmers and ranchers in this country not taking the action that they need to, because they deserve the results. You deserve the results, just like Scott did. So at the end of this video, do yourself a favor, go start taking relentless action and build the operation and the family and the life and everything that you've always wanted to build. All right, so that concludes today's video. I hope you found it valuable. Again, I hope it provokes you to take some action inside of your life that you need to take. Now, again, my friend, if you found this video valuable, if it really helped you, then 1, I ask you to like the video. 2, I ask you to subscribe to the channel. And 3, if you know somebody else inside of this industry that needs to see this video, please share it with them. We're here to help people, okay, and help them make those major shifts inside of their operations so they can build the family legacy that they want. Now, I'm also going to encourage you, up above me somewhere, there's going to be another video to a documentary that we had filmed a couple of years ago called Saving the American Farmer. Make sure you check out this gut-wrenching documentary because it is so powerful and opens up so many things, and it also has over 1 million views. So check that out right now, and we will catch you in next week's video.
All right, good. So, do you know why? Do you actually know why people are jealous of agriculture majors?
Why?
Because they always get a job in their field.
Okay. Yeah. You had to Google that one, didn't you?